Guys, recently I did a video about death, probably a month or two ago, and I had a lot of comments on it, and a lot of people asking me to go back over that again. So I wanted to make this video and do that. You know, right now, you have power. You have total power. You get up in the morning, you get to decide what you're going to eat, you decide what you're going to wear, and then all day long, you go about doing whatever you're going to do. You have total power to do all those things. And that's a power that God has given you, free will. But listen, Solomon tells us that all that changes at death. On the day of death, that all changes completely. And this is what he said. It's found in Ecclesiastes 8:8. He says, "There is no man that has power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither has he power in the day of death." So right now you have free will. You're free to do whatever you want to do. But on the day of death, you lose all free will. On the day of death, the moment you take your last breath, you will be taken into custody. You'll be taken into custody. I've got many books on near-death experiences, and I've been studying it for years, and there's a lot of fake near-death experiences, and you can always tell the fakes. But this is what the real people who were not saved say over and over and over again, that the moment they died, they were in a dark place and they felt beings around them, evil beings, like maybe 6, 8, maybe 10 of them. And they all took them into custody and led them down through a dark path, and they were headed right to the gates of hell. That's what happens if you're not saved. You are taken into custody. However, if you're born again, if you put your faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, he tells us in John 14th chapter, he says, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go there to prepare a place for you. And if I go prepare a place for you, I personally will come and receive you unto myself." So if you're unsaved, the band of demons will take you into custody. If you are saved, the Lord Jesus Christ will be right there to take you to the gates of heaven. In John 10:17-18 it says, "Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again. No man takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. This commandment have I received of my Father." You know, a lot of times people will argue. They'll say, well, who killed Jesus? Well, the Romans killed him. No, it was the Jews that turned him over to the Romans. Both those are wrong. You and I killed Jesus. Our sin is what killed him. Jesus Christ is the only exception to the rule that I just told you about the demonic host taking you into custody or the Lord Jesus. It says here, he said, "I laid down my life. No one took it from me. I laid it down of my own accord. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again." Jesus Christ has all power. He has all power. He's the one who determines where you're going to spend eternity. You're not a self-existent being. You're not self-existent in your flesh. Every breath you take is because God allows you. And the moment you die, your spirit is not self-existent. It's going to be taken into custody. You have no power. Jesus Christ has all the power. All power. And he decides where you go after death. He decides where you spend eternity. You guys remember the story of Mary, Martha, and their brother Lazarus when Lazarus died and Jesus rose him from the dead? You remember that? It's found in John 11:23-26. "And Jesus said unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. He died, Jesus went to the village, and he's talking to Mary and Martha. He says, your brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know he'll rise again at the resurrection of the last day. Jesus said, no. He said, I am the resurrection. He that believes on me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Jesus holds the keys to life and death. And Jesus said, take away the stone. Take away the stone. And when he had thus spoken, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot in grave clothes, and his face was bound with a napkin. Jesus said unto them, loose him and let him go. You know, if Jesus hadn't have said his name, Jesus addressed Lazarus. Had he not have said his name, every dead corpse that was in the ground within the sound of his voice would have came right up out of the ground. Because Jesus has power over life and death, and Jesus determines where you're going to spend eternity. He determines it. And don't think, well, you know, good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell. You know what? There's a lot of good people in hell. And there's a lot of bad people, myself included, that are going to be in heaven. The Bible says no one's good, no, not one. There's another Lazarus in the Bible, and there was a rich man. The rich man didn't care anything about Lazarus. He was rich. Lazarus used to lay at his gate, and that rich man never even said to his servants, you know what, somebody make a plate of food and take it out to Lazarus, see if he's okay. Never cared one thing about him. It came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. That's paradise in the Old Testament. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeing Abraham far off, and Lazarus in his bosom. The moment you take your last breath, you're still conscious. You know who you are, you know where you are. You remember your life on earth, you remember everything. The only question is, who's going to take you into custody? Are the demons going to take you into custody and take you to the gates of hell, where you're going to wait 1,000 years, then you'll come out, you'll go to the great white throne judgment, and after that you're going to be cast into a lake of fire. That's option one to the unsaved. If you're saved, the Lord Jesus will be right there the moment you die, and he will take you to the gates of heaven. People, that's the only two choices. That's death in a nutshell. Death 101. You die without the Lord Jesus, the demons will take you into custody and take you to hell. You die born again, having put your faith and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. The Lord Jesus will be there to escort you to the gates of heaven, where you will spend eternity. It's that simple. It's that simple. You know what? It's a no-brainer, and I wouldn't leave it to chance. You have no power to be alive tomorrow. God decides if you're going to be alive tomorrow. He decides if you're going to be alive day after tomorrow. I wouldn't chance this. And the reason I wouldn't chance it is because eternity is a long, long time. And hell is hot. And I don't want nothing to do with it. Anyway, that's death. I hope I gave you guys something to think about. Heaven or hell, you choose. Just remember, once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.